Alrighty, so welcome to our The USA is My Home panel for Welcoming Week. I am so excited for you all to join us tonight. We are Weave Tales and we are a Jacksonville-based nonprofit, and we seek to humanize the stories of refugees and immigrants by giving them a voice and to correct misconceptions about refugees through storytelling and programming like this, where you get to actually hear from refugees and immigrants and about their experiences. And tonight we're joined by 5 of our amazing 25 graduates of the New American Speakers Program. The speakers you'll be hearing from tonight have either recently graduated from the second cohort or last year graduated from cohort 1. So it's been about a year-long journey now with this program, and it's been amazing. I've gotten to teach and work on this program now for a year. And our public speakers program is a speaker referral program and training program to help newcomers and non-native English speakers share their experiences of migration and integration with the general public. It is a long 15-week program, as we were just talking about before going live. And it's for anybody who has a story of migration wanting to improve their public speaking skills. And we cover different topics like culture, identity, and migration, and much more in this intensive program. And so just to kind of introduce you to the people who are joined with us tonight, I first want to thank Bosma and Dr. Leslie Kaplan for their support and for joining in on this tonight. And I also will be sharing with you our students from cohort 1 and cohort 2. So from cohort 1, we have Diyar and Hanan speaking tonight. Diyar is an Iraqi American mother of 2, a teacher and advocate. She is both fluent in Arabic and English, which aids her in her field. She works with English as second language students to help them navigate their experiences within the American school system. And Diyar is passionate about social advocacy and loves to help others. And Hanan, who is also from cohort 1, emigrated from Palestine in 1973 and is now a mother, grandmother, and social justice advocate. She has worked as a Middle East consultant for Schools Online and Middle East consultant for the Wheelchair Foundation, through which she has been able to give back to the Middle East. As a life coach and personal chef, she is able to share the art of healing with food through the My Healing Table, which she created in order to resolve conflicts through a shared love of food and the story it's telling. Then from cohort 2, we have 3 amazing students. We have Tashiku Kamari and Modupe. Tashiku is originally from the Democratic Republic of the Congo and spent almost 10 years in a refugee camp before resettling to the US, where he continues to support refugees and immigrants with Jewish Family Services. And he's also been recently speaking to high school students about his experiences, which has been amazing after the article he worked on with us. So I'm very proud of him and the work he's currently doing. And then we have Kumari, who is originally from Bhutan. After living in a refugee camp for 17 years, she currently serves as a nurse practitioner in New York and has been doing amazing work with the Storytelling Collective and a lot of other initiatives too. So she's been a rock star since graduating from our program. And last but not least, we have Modupe, and Mo is a wife and mother who currently lives in Texas, and she works as an account payable specialist from Nigeria. So you're going to hear a lot more about their stories tonight. But that's enough of me talking. I want to get you listening to our students and all of their amazing stories that they have to share about welcoming. This is a part of the Welcoming Week programming, and we just wanted to be a part of that conversation with our students. And so the first question that we have a part of this panel is, what made you feel welcome when you first moved to the US? And so I'm going to pass that first question off to Diyar, so take it away whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Haley, for this introduction. Hi, everybody. It is never easy to travel to a new place, but I'm sure the people that welcome makes it easier. Traveling to this country by myself was really hard, stressful, and challenging. But what makes it easier is encounter the friend that I met or I have from back home here that helped me every step through this and made it easier until my husband made it here and we reunited. So when I arrived, I went to a friend of mine at DC, but unfortunately, the same time I arrived, she left to go back home. So I end up by myself with her in her apartment, which does not serve me any well that I'm coming to this country alone and I have to start. So I called another friend that she welcomed me back to her house, and I lived with them for a couple of months, and I got a job and established myself until my husband came, and they treated me like a family, and I really grateful for that. And then when my husband joined, a friend of his asked to come and live with them in Michigan, start working with them. So that was our last destination, and we've been living in Michigan since. And the friend has a big family, so they welcomed us in that middle of that family. We were part of it, and they helped us start our life and rent an apartment and got the job, and we celebrated the first birthdays and everything. And then from there, we made our new friends and our new community, and that's how we settled, and with the help of all these people along the way. That's it.
Thank you so much, DR. And you really touched on an important point about how having these connections and people to facilitate coming to a new country and walking you through that process and being that connection to a new home is so important. And I'm sure we're going to hear that from other students too. So I really appreciate you saying all of that. And now I'm going to pass the question over to Hanan.
Good evening, Haley. Good evening, everyone. This is Hanan. I'm from Palestine. Can you hear me? I'm okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. As DR said, it is not easy immigrating and leaving everything behind, especially if you don't know anyone and if you don't speak the language, which was in my case. I didn't speak the English and I didn't know per se anyone, and if the people who were here were men, they weren't women at that time in 1973 from Palestine in America. The women were back with the children in the old country, and the men were here looking for a better life, working and sending the women and the children money. So when I came in, there weren't any women to support me. There were men who met us at the airport the night we arrived to San Francisco, and that was the first culture shock, that there was no women from my community, not from the Palestinian, not from the Muslim community or any of the Arab communities. Second day, they actually, in our culture, people invite you if they had homes that they can host you, but they were all like roommates, these people were in college or work, so they didn't have anybody to host us in their homes. They took us out to a restaurant, and then that was it. I didn't see any of them, and it's so funny. I started to discover that they're expecting like me to make them more comfortable in America, because I'm like the female, and I'm like, I don't know anything about this country. I don't speak the language. I don't know anything. But it was really difficult, and I don't want people to think that their story is abnormal and we came in and oh my God, we found everyone with dancing balloons and laser flowers at the airport. No, it's really a struggle. It's really very lonely. It's very difficult. And you all need to know that we went through that. Everybody went through some kind of struggle and some kind of difficulties, but that's what makes us who we are. That's what makes us survive being in another country. And I wanted to remind myself too, every night when I was like rethinking, did I really do the right thing of having this American dream that I wanted to come to America? For what? I mean, I couldn't find anyone to say hello to me or welcome me. But I reminded myself daily that I immigrated here for a better life, for a better opportunity. And I think that's what made me kind of stick it out and really fight to learn everything about America, I would go to my neighbors, introduce myself instead of them coming to us. There was one uncle, honestly, that felt sorry for me because he looked at me and I was really like pathetically sad that he kind of like adopted me. So his relationship and my relationship till today, it's very strong. Even when he got married later on, his wife, I adore her, like twin sisters and his sons, Ammo Kamal. He was one of the only people that welcomed me and kind of guided me without me feeling that this man is guiding me what to do and how to do things. But I will always appreciate him for that.
Thank you so much, Hanan. That was a really beautiful answer. And like something that's important to acknowledge is that it is incredibly difficult to leave everything you know and to then come to this country. And I love how you then reflected on how now you are going out of your way to welcome neighbors and acknowledge others, because sometimes come to this country without knowing anybody, and it's a very lonely and isolating experience. And so I really appreciate you sharing that struggle and how now paying it forward and helping others feel more welcome. So thank you so much. I'm now going to pass the question over to Tashiku about what made you feel welcomed when you first moved to the United States. So answer whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much, Irene. For me, my name is Tashiku Henry. I'm coming from DRC, Republic Democratic of Congo. When I came here, the first thing that makes me happy, it was the people at the airport. I was received by a resettlement agency, that's Jewish Family Service. And I had a wonderful case manager. She's very beautiful and very motivated. It made me like, the first thing that I felt like, wow, what's going on? It's like, I knew where I was going, but I've never been there before. You know, I was just going to a place that I hear by saying like, there is this land of opportunity, but I've never been before. And I was coming with my family, my 2 children and my wife. So as a father, I didn't know exactly where I'm taking my kid. I didn't know where I'm taking my family. I was just going by hope that I will reach. So when I reached at the airport, to be in Seattle, I did not have any person to guide me. So I was just following people behind. I didn't know where is the baggage claim until I saw some people holding some papers with my name written, "Welcome to America." So that was the most important thing that makes me happy, because I saw my name held by an unknown person. She held it. Very happy. She was smiling. And I had my family-in-law, which came before us. They were also at the airport. And then I saw how they had like tears of happiness. And they come and hug my wife, they hug my kid. Everybody came and started hugging us. You know, that feeling, the tears of happiness, tears always means crying maybe for sadness or something like that. But that tears, I could see it coming even from their heart, I felt so good, and I was taken, and couldn't imagine that I was in America, because I was saying, oh my God, is it the place where I'm going? So that made me very happy and most welcome, because there was a lot of people, and I was asking myself, is all these people just for me? So it makes me very, very happy for sure. Yeah, thank you, Harry, for that.
That's such a beautiful memory. And I'm sure that's like the best way to come into the country, with open arms and seeing your name and family and everything just so welcoming. And that's just a beautiful memory. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm now going to pass the question over to Kumari.
Thank you, Haley. And hello, everyone. My name is Kumari, and I came to the United States in January of 2009 when Barack Obama was inaugurated as the 44th president of the United States. I started feeling welcome then and there, that listening to his speech on the airport, it was more welcoming to refugees. And, like Hannah and Dare already said, that leaving your families behind, it's heartbreaking as a refugee. And when I came with my brother, leaving my parents behind in the refugee camp. So I was so excited to see a case manager who speak my language and, all the culture, the Nepali. And also he brought my cousin, brother, and sister with him. And we have not met for so many years. I was so happy to see that. And I'll never forget that. And the caseworker, he greeted us with respect, and he took us to his house for that night, and then gave us the cultural food to eat, which I was missing since I left the refugee camp. And I remember so many volunteers at the Catholic charity that I came were there to help you. They were like asking you, did you feel this? Did you do that? Did you apply for Social Security? And they will be there taking you to the wherever you need. And I remember one specific volunteer that helped me to apply for FAFSA for my college. And I came with the limited English, and her help made me who I am today. And I'm a nurse practitioner right now. If she was not there to help me to apply that FAFSA, I would not be here today. So I want to thank her from here. And I'm a proud healthcare worker from a refugee, so I'm so proud, and I felt so welcome from the day one since I came to this country.
Again, such beautiful stories of those first moments and days. Thank you so much, Kumari. And I remember like from one of your assignments too, you talked about like the smells and like having the food there and like those first things you see, and the language too is really big for welcoming. And so that's great that there's people able to provide those feelings of home and those little bits of home when you first come to the United States and help you with your careers and such as well. So thank you so much for sharing that. And the final person to answer the question until we move on to our next segment is going to be Madupe. So answer whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much, Ellie. My name is Mo. I know I'm from Nigeria. I moved to the United States with my family a couple of years back. Upon my arrival into the United States, the friendliness, the warmth that I received from people around me was so overwhelming. And at the critical time that I needed help, even without going to people for help, people came just to help me. Around where I lived, the community where I lived, there was a mission Harlington, and they just came to my door that fateful day, not knowing that my son was even sick and needed medical attention. And they were like, "We noticed you just moved in here. In case you need this, we offer this. You might need this for your kids, in case, And I felt so overwhelmed because I was already worried about getting my son to the hospital and getting a good medical care. But they coming to meet me was like a blessing because they gave me all that I wanted, all the details that I needed, whatever I needed, they were there to assist me. So every single person that I met, I would say, were eager to meet me, not even me going to them. And this gave me this warmth that I needed, to be comfortable in a new country that I just relocated to my family. I would say that this welcoming people made me understand the power of diversity, the power of culture, and this made me sit in on time. Everyone I met, they were deliberate in contributing to my settling in. My daughter getting into school, the church that we went to, and everything, just to mention a few. And all this relationship I have nurtured from then, and I'll keep nurturing this relationship because they helped me to be the person that I am today. Thank you so much to everyone that has helped me. Take it on.
Thank you so much, Mo. That was such a beautiful response as well. I'm honestly so proud of all of you now, seeing you go through the program, and now you're all here speaking and just carrying yourselves so well and having these amazing stories that you're now sharing to help other refugees and immigrants as they come and welcoming them. So I'm really proud of you, and thank you all for sharing these first answers to these questions. And so now our next question and segment is, now that you are all here, how do you welcome newcomers in your work and since coming to the United States? And the first person I'm going to pass that question to is Kumari.
I'll be very friendly with them. I remember just recently, a week before, a family from Boston, they moved here to New York. Well, they had been there for a year or so, but they came with very limited resources. I think they lived there for a year, but they came with, I helped them to apply for social services, Medicaid, food stamps, and then they stayed at my house for 3 days until we find an apartment. I try to be culturally competent with them, even though they were not from Nepal. I welcome all refugees from everywhere. They were from Congo. So, they come with very limited resources, limited English. So I try to be culturally competent. It was hard when I came to this country with limited English. So I'd be empathetic with them, and then I also help them to apply for social services, applying for jobs. And another thing that I felt when I came here to find the cultural food in the store. So I also, if I have time, or I'll show them the cultural store, the cultural food area where they can buy other restaurants in the area. So I, try to be empathetic and culturally competent with all the refugee families that come to the area here.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much. That's such a great response to how you can be a connection to somebody. And you really went above and beyond helping them get those services. But it's true, though, like a lot of refugees and immigrants sometimes come without resources and need that connection to the community that they're entering. And I think Tashiku, who I'm passing this question to next, can maybe share also how he does something similar in that way. So Tashiku, answer whenever you're ready.
Yeah, as you know, many refugees and immigrants, when they come here, and if you ask a lot of them, they will respond you with one answer like, I come here for a better life. I come here to look for opportunity. I come in the land of opportunity. And I'm so happy to be the person who helped those clients to fulfill those dreams. Working as an employment case manager, I help my clients, refugees and immigrants from all over the world, fulfill the dream that they were dreaming to see in America. So I help them by creating their resume, trying to discuss with them how they can be competent during the interview in America. We know some refugees come from different countries. They have different system of interview. Here is also a different. I've noticed a lot to my clients, especially during the interview, where to some of the part of the country, the world, when you're having an interview with somebody who's maybe your boss or something like that, you don't need to look them straight into their eyes. They feel like this particular person does not have respect. But in America, that's a completely different story. If you don't look straight in somebody's eyes, they feel like he's not even competent. So that I find it like to break that particular barrier, to take a person from level one to a level that they will make sure that their dream is fulfilled, so that they can enjoy their American dream that they were normally listening somewhere. So I'm that kind of person. And recently, we received a lot of people from Afghanistan. I'm very proud of the organization that I'm working with, that Jewish Family Service. And my work that I'm working, we are helping a lot of refugees, placing them into job. And not only that, they should be placed maybe in a job for labor. And I do my best to place them into a career field that they used to do in their home country, a professional job, where they feel like their dream is 100% fulfilled. So I'm happy for that. And that particular contribution, I feel like I make a great step toward welcoming refugees and immigrants in America. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Tashiku, you raised such an amazing point in the current climate that we're in, that not only should we be welcoming to all refugees and immigrants and those coming to the United States, but particularly right now with the Afghanistan situation. I know in our Jacksonville community, we're having a large influx of people coming, and we have a lot of resettlement agencies here too. So the work that you do with the Jewish services is really amazing. And especially right now, timeliness is very important with the current climate. So thank you so much for touching on that. And now I'm going to pass that same question about how do you welcome newcomers now in your work or since coming to the United States to Madupe.
Thank you so much, Ellie. Yeah, like I said earlier that I met this mission, they are called Mission Arlington, and they came to my rescue. So after some time, I joined them too for a while, and we go door to door to anybody that will feel new in the neighborhood and like, what do you need? Do you need a bag? Do you need this? Do you need that? So I became part of that mission for that time. And we're always, I think it was on Fridays, we had prayer meetings on Fridays. And on Saturdays, we go all out, we go door to door. And they always like to go with me because they wanted me to talk to people that were from Nigeria or from Africa, And it was so interesting, I would say, because I met a lot of people. And even while we were offering them this help, there was one thing that made me so happy was just that the joy that you get to see in their faces, the God bless yous that you hear it cannot be quantified, because you can see the joy that comes afterwards, because rendering that help to them, they were not expecting anyone to just come and say, do you need this? We're offering you that. So I would say that that was really a good time in my life, because I get to be a blessing, to immigrants and refugees around me. I do not take this for granted. I really appreciate that privilege to be part of that mission at that time. Thank you so much, Ellie.
Yeah, that's great, because you can connect with others also through the like a church services or other clubs or things that you might be a part of in your community. And so that's a really great testament to how you can be involved in your community. So thank you so much, Mo, for sharing that. Next, I'm going to pass the question over to Hanan.
Yeah, like I said before, because when I came in, it was very difficult, and I felt isolated and lonely, just because I didn't know anything about America, and I didn't have any people that I knew before. That's why I feel with the people that I see coming in, new. You could tell, and I make it out of my way to include them. Like if I know somebody's coming, we would, host them. We would give them space in like our house if they needed. I will teach them. The thing is, you cannot do things for people forever. You could help them maybe the first week, the first month, but you want to teach people to be independent, because this is like the land of opportunity. And if you want to be independent, you can be independent. So as I taught myself things, I pass them to others. Like somebody mentioned, people when they come in from, especially let's say from Palestine. When I first come in, I really was craving the smell and the taste of the food in Palestine. And I couldn't find that anywhere in 1973 in the US, in California, at least in my area, in the Bay Area. So I tried to make a list for them, like, this is where DMV is, let's go get your license. That's how you study. People don't know this information. And imagine back then, 1973, when I came in, nothing was available for you to Google or get directions. You really were left to fetch for yourself. Nothing would help you. So I try to tell people, you're coming at a better time. You're coming, we're here, where we pave the road for you. Like we know where the Middle Eastern stores, I know where the halal meat is, I know where which doctor you want to go to that can speak Arabic, especially if they're Arabic speaking only. Again, I try to welcome anyone from other cultures if they come across my path. But mainly if I hear someone speaking Arabic, I would go out of my way to say, hey, marhaba, kifkum, I'm Arab too. So they won't feel with this hatred going around for people who speak other languages, who maybe look different, that you want to show them that I got your back. I'm here. I speak your language if you need anything. Or if I see a Muslim sister, you could tell. I would go out of my way, and sometimes people are like, oh, what is wrong with her? I'm like, Salaam alaikum. I just wanted to say Salaam alaikum. And people would laugh and say, oh my God, that is so cute. The simplest thing you could do really to make people's life easy and welcome them. And I always, like, if somebody needed a cosigner, I've co-signed for people on cars, we co-signed for people on apartments. I've driven people to hospitals. One mom, she just came in and she was pregnant. I went with her, waited till the baby's born, and went every day with like soup and taught her how to take care of a baby, because I already had two. Things like that people take for granted. And sometimes people feel ashamed to say, I don't know anything. And I want people to know that ask. No one laughs here. No one belittles you. No one thinks you're less than them. Actually, people in this country like to be helpful. And especially us, the immigrants, we learned it, and we would love to teach you, because we kind of got the handbook right now on everything, where everything is. Another thing is, I feel as a Palestinian that I'm here as an ambassador of my country. I'm here representing my country in front of not only America, the other immigrants from other countries. I'm here to show them the beauty of Palestine through me, through my food, through my behavior, and the beauty of Islam through like my generosity, my kindness, my non-judging. So I always remind myself that I didn't find anyone here. I'm going to make sure that whoever needs my help, that I'm always here for them.
Oh, Hanan, you always have just such a beautiful way with words. And I love that line you said, like paving the way for the new generations. Like you especially coming here when, what, in 1973 it was, like, that is such, you know, like the way that we progressed and these services have increased, and like even with Google, like that really wasn't something I even thought about, but like the access to services or availability of information is so different now. And like, especially those who have been here for a long time, it's so amazing that you all are now offering up that information and making it easier for those who are now coming here. And so I want to first thank you, all of you, and thank you, Hanan, for sharing that response. That was really spot on. So thank you so much. And last but not least, I'm going to pass the question off to DR.
Thank you, Haley. Oh, I am the queen of helping others. Just kidding. Working, because I work in the schools, so I think for an immigrant mom has no help, that job is perfect, because especially if you're gonna work in the same district where your kids go. So you go to school with them, the days off. So I helped so far 8 moms that find a job in that area. The last one of the refugee moms that I work with, her first day of work this Friday. So this is the last. I always encourage the family I work with to get the job. I go do their resume. I fill the application for them. I even I go to the interview with them, but I just sit as a support and help them to do that, because just so they know there's someone with them, and try them to help them through that. And beside the jobs, me and my husband helped so many people around since the day we came. The first year we're living in 1-bedroom apartment. My mom came to visit. She's sleeping in the living room. And we had a friend, or she's a neighbor of my husband's family. So it's kind of far away friend, but she's coming here with her 2 teenagers kids. So she stayed with us. All of us in this tiny apartment, helped her get a car, did all the paperwork, rent an apartment, and moved her there. And then a few years later, another friend came and she lived with us, and we helped her do the same thing, did all the paperwork, find her a job, a car, and everything, and then helped her move away. And then we moved to a house that we are close to the university. And in the university, they have a program called International Host Family, and we sign up for that. That's a great program. If you live near university, you should do that. And through that program, we met many students from a lot of countries, and we became big family for them, and we help them, we host them, we go picnic with them when sometimes their families come to visit them. We help host them, and we invite them for dinner. And we have one of the students, they have the lease on their apartment is done, they finish, and they have a whole month to live here before they travel to go back home. So we host them, we have them in our house just to fill that 1 month gap in between these 2 things before they go back. And lastly, we have a student from Sweden who lived with us through the program that my girls' school. So she can just live with us as an exchange student, and it was a great experience. She goes to the same school with my girls, and that's what we do. We keep it going. We like having people over, and we like helping others. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, DR. And I really like when you were talking about the schools and universities and the power that they have to help others. I don't want to hijack your guys' conversation here, but working in the schools, I have a lot of students who are English language learners and refugees themselves. We pose the question to the students, like as a bell ringer is what they're called, and we ask them if they could have any wish, what it would be. And I have a Syrian student, and she wished that her country could be free. And you know, like we have younger generations of students who are refugees as well. And I mean, and even how I got into Weave Tales was because of the work that I did with Dr. Kaplan, who is here, and maybe she can better speak about this, but being able to welcome people and learn about stories through embedding it into education is so important. And that's exactly what Dr. Kaplan is. And Dr. Kaplan, I don't know if you want to speak to kind of what the colloquium course does at all, but I'd like to invite you to talk about that if you're willing, since you're here.
Sure, I don't want to hijack this, but I mean, what an incredible privilege it is to help other people. You guys all know that because this seems to be a major part of your own life's work. And I've been trying to be able to pass that on to students by connecting with the refugee resettlement agencies in Jacksonville and offering the students an opportunity to volunteer in different capacities. So we have, this year we have about 80 students who are participating either through reading programs or soccer programs at the schools. So it's a partnership between UNF, the schools, and in some cases the resettlement agencies, and then helping adults with tutoring, and then running some soccer programs in the school. So it's, the thing that I think is really interesting about the work that I do through the university is that a lot of people think about it as being work to help the families who've arrived here as refugees, but just as much, if not more, of the benefit is to the students to have that opportunity to offer just a small helping hand. And what a privilege it is to be able to do that. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kaplan. I just wanted to connect that with Yara was saying about the connections to universities and how we can pass on that information and help immigrants and refugees through that work is just really powerful. So thank you all for answering that question. I'm going to shift gears a little bit here from welcoming. And this next segment in question is, why did you choose public speaking and storytelling as your method of advocacy? And even if you have like an anecdote about being a part of a cohort or the New American Speakers Program or other things that you've done through public speaking, why did you choose this as your method of advocating? So I'm going to open that question up first to Tashiku. So answer whenever you're ready.
Yeah, you know, Ali, there is two things that I was thinking that's always about it. There is what we call thinking and speaking. They are connected, but they are two completely different things. A lot of people may think, but it's only few may be able to speak, and to speak in a way that other people may be able to understand. What you may think may not impact, but what you may speak may have a lot of impact in life. So that's why having a speaking skills is something very important. And that's what motivated me to join this particular program, so that I should not only be able to think, but be able to speak to impact. You know, refugees are people who their voice have been hidden for so long. And many refugees so far are the people who left their country because their voice were not heard. They ran away. While running, some of them were arrested and put in prison. Some of them, before even crossing the border, they were killed. But they shouted, they cried before dying. But their voice, nobody heard those voices. Some of them, amongst them, I was one of them. We managed to cross the borders. We went into refugee camps. And even there, imagine we found a different language, a language that we were not able to speak or to understand. So our voice were not heard. So we have been as refugees for so long, not able to speak, you know. And even when we're in the refugee camp, sometimes we've been helped by different agencies that help refugees. So they speak not only for themselves, but they're also trying to save their funders, so that their funders should not leave them alone, you know, because without funding, they will not. So they're trying to speak on a thing that even if it could affect negatively the refugees, but also on their side, if it could save their funding. So even when we're still in a refugee camp, somewhere in the world, still our voice of refugees were not heard. The voice of immigrants have been hidden for so long from the time they left their country. And some of them, even when they still come to the US, their voice, they're not able to speak because maybe they have a language that is different than English. Maybe they are afraid. They say, maybe if I speak what is the truth, I can be deported. Up to now, there is a lot of refugees afraid to speak on what they know as the truth. Because once they speak that, they're afraid that they may be taken back to their home country. Some of us were even afraid to say, if I speak today, yes, am I going to get citizenship? Am I going to be censored? You know, we have those fears up today. So our voice, although we be able to speak today, but we still have that fear, and it's not in a small percentage, it's still into the 90s, you know? So we're free to speak. America is a land of freedom. We're able to speak, but remember, some of us are still linked to our countries. Some of us are still saying that I don't have yet enough documents so that they may not deport me. Some of us are still saying like, yes, even if I can still have a citizenship, but one day they can say you are from a certain country. You know, we are still not able to speak. Up to date, imagine. And that's the main reason that pushed me to come and join this program so that I can be the speaker of those who can speak. With the little skills I learn, because, you know, learning into this program, speaking is a skill plus gift. If you don't have the gift of speaking, even if you have a skill, you can't speak, you know. So it's only few people have been given that gift, and thanks to this new American Speakers Program, we've been able to also given the skills. So together we combine the two, and that's why we speak. And I speak too much myself. I speak with people. I speak with them about refugees. I speak with them not only that we are here as refugees, but we also have to speak on what made us to leave the country, our country. Home is always sweet, regardless of how bad your home should be. Even if you don't have food at your home, there is a proverb in my country, they say, it's in the afternoon where a child knows their house. So we as people, one day we also think of where we come from. We are here, we are safe, but sometimes we should ask ourselves, like, what made us to come here? What was the cause? And those questions are not able to speak that. We are afraid to speak that, because once we speak those particular details, sometimes we may reach to the big animals, to the big elephant, and once they come, they're just going to take us away from the field, you know. So our voices are still not able to pronounce, we are not able to speak. But I'm happy because this platform, through New American Speakers Program, we are able to speak. And I've been able to speak with refugees from different places through the medium of YouTube, through meeting, Zoom, and different people. And recently I had my storytelling with grade 12 students, and they were happy. And I believe the echo of my voice is still going, and it will keep on going every day, because those echo of the voice of refugees who were not able to cross, they are still ringing into my heart and in my ears every day. And that's why they come through my mouth, and that's why I'm able to speak today. So we as refugees, we have been given that opportunity to speak. We are not speaking only for our behalf, but we are speaking in behalf of many, and those who are still running, and those who did not made it into refugee camp. Only very few of people managed to cross the border, but many are still dying, being killed in their home country, and nobody can speak for them. So I'm that particular voice who can speak for those people. Thank you very much.
Yes, I wrote down what you said about, you know, people who left because their voice were not heard, their screaming and shouting were not heard. And I really do think you and each and every one of you are really being the voice to the voiceless, and those who have been affected and are still being affected. So I really appreciate how you all use this platform to help others who have been in the situations you have been in. So thank you so much for those powerful words, Tashiku. I'm going to pass it on because I don't want to run out of too much time here. But Mo, answer the question whenever you can.
Thank you so much, Ellie. Yeah, I chose public speaking as my method of advocating because I have this burden within me, and I know that my story is going to go a long way to give strength to immigrants and refugees in my community and my world at large. As someone with a physical disability, I feel that my story should not be left untold, because there are a lot of people that are waiting to hear my story. And my story is going to go a long way to give them strength to move on. I come from this part of the country, or part of the world where You don't talk about your disability. We don't get to talk about issues of like mental health. Everybody keeps away from this. Everybody wants to shy away from it as if nothing is going on. And like someone like me, if I found the help that I needed on time, it will help me to discover myself. It will help me to get, to grow better. It will help me to get out of it on time. And I feel that being a voice to people, telling them, giving them a way out of this situation is going to go a long way to help them. And I feel that the rate of suicide we have nowadays, sometimes physical disabilities might not just be physical, it might be emotional, it might be in whatever way, but speaking to someone is going to go a long way to give them strength and courage to pass that phase of life that they are going through. So I feel being an advocate to people with physical disabilities or whatsoever disability that they have is a way of giving back to my community and helping people that have lived in perpetual denial all their lives and helping them to be better people in life, to their family and to the community at large. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mo. And you're definitely a champion for talking about the beauty of your scars. And I hope that our viewers can also read your article because it's so powerful in the work that you're doing for that. So thank you so much for sharing that. For my last three speakers, I'm going to combine that last question and first question just so to be mindful of time. So when you're talking about why you chose advocacy through storytelling, also tell the audience about what type of work or experiences that you like to talk about during public speaking. So just combine those last two questions for me, these last three speakers, okay? So I'm going to pass that question over to DR now. Why did you choose public speaking and storytelling as your method of advocacy? And what do you feel that you're best to speak about?
Thank you, Haley. As the previous speaker said the same thing, we all, I think, as an immigrant or refugee, are voice for our country and our people. And that's what I feel like the day I came here, that was this burden that I represent Iraq. And that is my responsibility to tell the world about it, to tell the world about the suffering of the people, to tell the world about the beauty of this country, to tell the world about the history of it, and plus then to tell the story about me and how I survived many, many things, and to give hope for new moms and all the people that lives here. Everything about what I say and I do in my life is involved around that. Like even my Facebook is devoted to talk about Iraq and what's going on in the world and about social justice. Even my family, like they said, you always post in English, we don't understand what he's saying. I said, yes, that's not for you guys. I made that platform just to talk about your problem, just to shed a light about that. That's basically why I want to speak. I want to speak to give voice to this and shed a light about this. Since my girls were in elementary school, I used to go every year to the school and present to this class, for each girls to their class, about Iraq, about Islam, about Eid, and to teach the kids Arabic. I write on the board numbers and letters and give them food. I've done it every year, and just to make the kids be aware and make my girls part of this country, part of this culture, to share that. That's why my really goal. And plus to show it, you will survive. You will go through things alone and you will get out of it strong, and you can do it. I mean, I raised two girls literally by myself, having them going through cancer by myself. I survived it. And my girls now, young, lovely ladies, and they carry the torch from me. Like they that's what they do. They're so proud of their culture, and that's where they continue on. And that's why I want to speak. And I chose this, and those are the subject I will love to talk about. Immigrant, the story about life, surviving, resilience, Iraq, the war. I've been through 3 wars and a big sanction and all those things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiara. I know you're a superhero for your daughters and you're a superhero for all mothers and women out there. And I appreciate how you're a champion for Iraq and all of your experiences there. And so I thank you so much for sharing that with us tonight. I'm going to pass the 2 questions over to Hanan now.
Well, look, as everybody understands on this panel, and maybe the people who are listening, we know how these people feel. We've been there. And we understand where they're feeling. And when I came, I wish that somebody was here that speaks my language, to speak for me, to help me navigate. And at the same time, I wished I had the English so I can relate to people who I am and what am I doing here. Choosing public speaking for me has so many folds, but I'll tell you a few. One, for me, for self-gratification. I want to feel that I am part of this country, assimilated. I am an American. I'm a Palestinian American. That's what I am. So I'm proud of the 2 countries, and both have good and bad to offer, but I take the good from both, inshallah. And I wanted to, I know that frustration, and I know how I felt. I felt mute. I felt unseen. I felt unheard. I felt so frustrated, so sad, so alone, missed my family, missed my home, missed my mom. It was really, really, really difficult. So I don't want anyone to be in my situation. If it's in my power to let people from other countries know that you're not alone, there's a rainbow at the end of the tunnel. You could do things if you want. And the other fold is I want to show America where I came from. There's so much stereotyping in the media. There's so much misinformation. There's so much hatred for people of color, for people with an accent. And I wanted to show the people of America, like, no, we came for a better life. Why? Because our countries got destroyed. That's why. We came to America because you invited us to America on your TV, that there's a better life. So I took that opportunity. We didn't come for a handout. We didn't come to be a burden. Majority of us actually refugees and immigrants, I'm an immigrant, are the fabric of this country. We are a melting pot. We are the spices that makes this country the greatest country on earth because of our diversity. And I wanted to tell that to the American audience, my friends and my new neighbors. And at the same time, I wanted to do justice for my people, show this is what a Palestinian look like. We're hardworking, we're intelligent, we're kind. This is what a Muslim look like, where we run to help people in time of need. And I want to encourage people to not ever let anyone tell your story. We all have stories. They could be, we have our own unique experience, but we relate to our stories. And our stories are what makes us. They are who we are. They make us strong. They make us keep going. This is the legacy we pass on to our kids and grandkids, is the stories and the struggles and the scars. I never let anyone tell my story. Why? I am so capable of telling my story as a Palestinian, as a Muslim, as a woman, as an immigrant in this country, with 5 kids who are American who succeeded in this country, authentically, powerful, and truth. I tell my story truthfully. This is what I experienced. This is where I came from. This is who we are. This is how we look like. Not what they tell you on TV, the Palestinians look like. No. So for me, is always, I encourage people, tell your story, tell your narrative, be authentic, be real, and people in this country appreciate honesty, authenticity, and realness. So for me, I spoke to get to your second fold of your story. I did speak publicly on the issue of Palestine a lot. And then I did a lot of mediation, a lot of events where we would all sit in a safe space and talk together as humans. And then everybody would love the smell of my food when they come to our house. So I started now speaking the language of love, and the communication that I have now is through my food. Is I make lots of food, invite people, whoever wants to come, be in a safe space, be among other people, You're coming new to this country, you just want to come and just sit and chill for a while with some people that can relate to you, that can be sympathetic to you. Some people that maybe didn't talk to each other for a long time or never met each other from different sides, to show we are so much alike. We're humans, we have the same goals, the same aspirations. So I always like to inspire people to speak, be authentic, and find your communication language, and mine is through food. And that's what I love to do. I love to cook and feed people. This gives people an opportunity to know who I am, about my country, about my cuisine, about my culture. There's so much culture appropriating right now. For me, it's killing me. And I feel it is my calling as a Palestinian to straighten that out. I feel that I need to be the voice of the unheard, of the people who are in camps in Palestine, of the Muslims who are being kicked out of their homes. Why? Because they're Muslims or because they're Palestinians. And at the same time, I feel that I need to communicate with my new country, my American children, my new friends, in a civil way that, no, you have the wrong idea. This is who we are. We're humans, we're mothers, we're fathers, we're grandmothers, and we're very loyal and grateful to this country. And yes, we are loyal to our old countries, and we speak up when we see something good, and we speak up when we see something bad.
You all are giving me chills and tears and all the feelings tonight, always. Our stories are who we are, the strength, the struggles, the scars. No one can take that away from you. I'm just quoting you, Hanan. Only you can tell your stories truthfully and authentically, not on the TV. That's not who we are. This is who a Palestinian is. This is who whoever insert culture or citizen is from this place. And these are the stories, and this is why we do the work that we do. And I think you answered that again just so perfectly. And I loved that narrative that you brought. So again, thank you so much for last but not least, Kumari, I'm going to pass this last two questions to you, and then I'm going to close it out and pass it to Dr. Kaplan. So Kumari, answer whenever you're ready.
I think that everyone answered it already, like Sissiko, Mo, Hannah. I agree with you all. We're speaking publicly because we wanted to be the voice for voiceless, like everyone said. But I wanted to add to that one thing. After learning from New American Speakers Program, after being on taking the course from Weeb Tales, from American Speakers Program, I also learned that being authentic. I know Hannah already said being authentic is very important. You are telling your story. You're telling your story, being authentic, and that's how you unlock your fear and anxiety. Everyone, the audience, will be listening to you, and they will feel that, wow, there are so many people out there that are unable to speak, and you are speaking for them. You're talking. I can give you the example that when I took this class with Weeb Tales, I was, writing the story. I was doing my homework. I feel like I'm telling story, not just mine. I was telling the story of my community. There are so many women in the community, in my community, in other community that are out there that they have so much to tell, but they are there and they can't come out. They can't raise their voice, or they can't speak English very well. So you were speaking for them. And, my mom was telling me that, well, you were learning this class, but I feel like you were telling my story because I will be showing her videos every time I was doing class with Weeb Tales. So we are the power. We want to be the voice for those who are voiceless, like what's going on in Afghanistan right now. If we can't speak, there's no one for them to talk because they're there. And if we can't talk, and there's no one will heard. So we are the voice, and we need to speak, and we need to be authentic, and public speaking is what we can do. The other part of the question that I wanted to answer, I'm best. I'm a nurse practitioner. I work in healthcare. I'm good at speaking and improving and promoting healthcare for refugees and immigrants. I teach them about primary prevention, the secondary prevention, because, we came from refugee camp. We don't know what's primary, what's secondary. Why do we do vaccination? Now what's going on here in America? So we didn't know about that back in the refugee camp. So I teach them about that, importance of donating the blood. I teach the women's about the breast cancer, the ovarian cancer. I'm good at that. We do the DNI along with my husband. We do the teaching for the refugees about DNR, DNI, about, all about healthcare. And along with that, I'm also, I went through this pandemic journey, being pregnant. So I'm also good at talking about that. So I can speak on my journey and struggle as a young refugee. I became a refugee when I was 6 years old, with limited basic needs in the refugee camp, very limited English. I came to this country and I'm a nurse practitioner and an adjunct instructor at State University of New York. So I wanted to be advocate for those newcomers, those refugees. You can do so much in this country, and we are the power. We are not the burden. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
What a powerful note to end it on. We are the power, not the burden, and you are the voices of your community. That's a really beautiful way to wrap it up, Kumari. I really thank you all so much for sharing tonight. And I wanted to again congratulate you all for completing the New American Speakers Program, being a champion of your story, your community, and now you're speaking on a panel and getting even more out involved in the storytelling and public speaking community and immigrant and refugee communities. So I really do applaud all of you. And I wanted to share that, yes, Hanan, sorry, I see your hand is raised.
Sorry, I wanted to say something I think is very important too, as speaking publicly and learning the English to articulate to our American friends. I feel too, we are the bridge between America and our countries. And that's always been like very dear, to my heart, that we are the bridge. We are between people that can connect the two worlds together.
That's even better because it is welcoming week. We're talking about how we can be inclusive to the newcomers. So being the bridge between the new and the old, and also us as Americans, me as a white American citizen, how I can be more welcoming to those of a different culture than me and of a different background than me. So again, thank you all. You all have such amazing points. I wish I could listen to you all talk forever. And subtle, I just wanted to include that our website has launched now. So all of these students and all of our 25 graduates are now up on the New American Speakers Program section of our website. And I'll include that link below. And so you can now book these speakers, and especially now you have heard their stories, what their expertise is, kind of how amazing they are. So please feel free to now book them as a speaker if you have an engagement. And you can do that through our website or by directly contacting them through the profiles. You can see their contact information through that. So go ahead and check out our website and look up our students and all the amazing work that they're doing. So again, thank you all for coming tonight. And I'm going to pass over to Dr. Kaplan, who is our special guest tonight. She was my teacher and introduced me to Weave Tales, and she's also a board member of Weave Tales. So I just wanted to pass it over to her to kind of reflect on this discussion and how she can engage her students to welcome others.
Thanks so much, Haley. And oh my goodness, thanks to all of you. Your stories are so incredibly powerful. And I was thinking about it as I was listening to you. I'm so grateful for the work that you've done. You put in so much work to hone your talent and share your stories. And Hanan, all I can do really is echo all of you. Your stories in your words, in your voices is so incredibly powerful. And I was thinking about how hard public speaking is for any of us. I was talking with my students the other day and I asked them, somebody got up and spoke and I said, how many of you could do that without needing to throw up either right before or right after, and most of them would probably need to throw up right before or right after, because even in our own native language, public speaking is so hard. And I'm thinking about you guys who have learned to be such amazing and powerful public speakers in a second or maybe a third or maybe a fourth language. And that just makes the power of what you're saying so much more powerful. And I was thinking also about how language the biggest barrier that everybody faces when they have to resettle and make their life in a new country. And you guys are not only able to share your stories and the stories of people who haven't managed to master English as well as all of you have, which is so valuable because we need to hear that perspective. But you're also individually reaching out to others who probably don't even speak your own language. No, you're reaching out to refugees and immigrants who speak, a whole other set of languages, and what you have in common maybe is English, which is everybody's second or third or fourth language. And that, again, just speaks even more to how important your contributions are and how hard you worked to make them. And so I'm just so blown away by all the work that you're doing. And it makes me think about Afghanistan. And I was just reading that we evacuated about 60 or 65,000 people. And there's about 24,000 who are in the US now that we need to be welcoming in the next few weeks. And they're arriving as parolees, not refugees, which means that they're not yet eligible for the full slate of services, which I think are not all that extensive that a refugee would get. And so the amount of help that those people are going to need, it's wonderful to hear your voices and your stories of welcoming and your stories of the generosity in your hearts that you offer to new people coming in. We need that to inspire so many people in our country to help welcome this new wave of people who are here because they were helping our country. It's the absolute least we can do for them. We owe it to everybody to be welcoming, but particularly to this group at a time when the refugee infrastructure is at its lowest point because of the increasingly smaller numbers of refugees we've been welcoming into our country. So it seems to me that it is up to all of us to reach out. And the other thing that I thought you guys made so clear with your stories is how rewarding it is. And again, I think that's inspiring to all of us to hear the generosity and open hearts that you have shared and the obvious pleasure and richness that's brought to your own lives, which I think is inspiring. So I just want to thank you all so much for everything that you've done here.